Here we go. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into the show. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. As always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. A lot of Niners news to get into and touch on during the Niners bye week with everything that happened yesterday in Week 14 across the NFL. Do want to say thank you, as always, to all of the real ones for supporting the channel and getting us to 182,000 subscribers. Much appreciated on that front. And if you haven't subscribed, do so right now for daily, year-round elite Niners coverage coming your way right here on the 49ers Report. So the NFC standing shuffling a lot yesterday in Week 14. This is something that we talked about happening potentially during the Niners bye week, where without playing, they could jump up in the NFC standings. And that's exactly what happened yesterday in the NFC playoff picture. And this looks a lot different than it did a couple of days ago and going into Sunday's action. Of course, it was altered a little bit on Thursday night with what happened between the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys, as the Lions come through with a big victory as they dropped 44 points on Dallas, really damaging the Cowboys' playoff hopes. And so you look at the NFC playoff picture right now. Going into yesterday, the Bears were the number one seed in the NFC. They have been unseeded because they lost an NFC North thriller yesterday at Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. Those two teams meet up again in a couple of weeks. And so with the Bears losing to Green Bay, the Los Angeles Rams, who were the number 2 seed behind Chicago, move up to the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Green Bay Packers at 8-3-1 going into yesterday's game of the week, were 8-3-1 by beating Chicago and holding off the Bears as that game came down to the final seconds. Caleb Williams threw that pick in the end zone to Keyshawn Nixon. The Packers are now 9-3-1. They elevate from the 6th seed to the number 2 seed. The Philadelphia Eagles play tonight against the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. And so Philadelphia stays in that 3-hole at 8-4. With a win, obviously they would advance to 9-4. Of note, they beat Green Bay and the Rams this year. And so they do own the tiebreaker over those teams. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, shocking result yesterday, got shucked by Tyler Shuck. The Buccaneers lost to the New Orleans Saints. Tampa Bay now 7-6. They are tied with the Carolina Panthers at 7-6. Those two teams meet twice in the final month of the season, but the Buccaneers clinging to the lead in the NFC South there. They are the 4 seed. The Seahawks crushed the Atlanta Falcons on the road yesterday. Seattle now 10-3, and the Niners, without playing in a game yesterday, during their bye week, go from the 7 seed to the 6 seed. San Francisco 9-4. They have the better NFC record than the Chicago Bears. And so because of the Bears losing against Green Bay, the Niners move up to the 6th spot. They elevate 1 position to that 6 hole, and the Bears are the 7th and final seed in the NFC. According to NFL.com, the Niners playoff probability, 90%. So things looking good right now for San Francisco. And you think ahead to a couple of weeks, right? The Niners come out of the bye. They play the Titans at home. They go on the road to play the Colts in prime time. Then they play the Chicago Bears in Week 17. That game is going to be electric because the winner of that game potentially could be in the lead for their division. And it could really go a long ways in determining a specific seed in the NFC. Now, the Niners yesterday could have moved up from the 7 seed to the 2 seed, but they needed the Seahawks to lose against Atlanta on the road. They needed the Rams to lose on the road against Arizona. Both of those teams won. They were major favorites. The Rams beat the Cardinals 45-17. Arizona has won 1 game since starting 2-0. Week 3, they had lost to the Niners on that field goal at the horn from Eddie Dinero Pinheiro, and Arizona is now 3-10. Their only win since starting 2-0 against the Dallas Cowboys on the road. And the Rams in the process moving to 10-3 with that convincing victory over Arizona in that NFC West bout yesterday. Matthew Stafford continues to be in the MVP race, 22-31, 281 yards, 9.1 yards per completion, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a rating of 131.2. Blake Corum had himself a huge day. 12 carries for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's usually the number 2 running back behind Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams, 13 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. Corum averaging 10.7 yards per tote. Kyren, 6.5 yards per carry on the ground. Even Ronnie Rivers got some carries, 8 for 41, 5.1 yards per carry on the ground for him. The Rams as a team against Arizona running 36 times for 249 yards, 6.9 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Puka Nacua, 7 catches for 167 and 2 touchdowns. And then Colby Parkinson, 3 catches for 32 yards, but did have a touchdown as well. A lot of explosive plays in that game for the Rams. And then the Seahawks annihilated the Falcons 37-9. Early on, it was tied 6-6. And you're like, all right, Atlanta, you're doing God's work right now for the Niners, trying to help out San Francisco right now. And then the Seahawks end the game on a 31-3 run after the game was tied 37-9. So that game just ugly, a blowout, and Atlanta is so bad. They're going to fire Raheem Morris after the year, who wouldn't be a bad defensive coordinator candidate for San Francisco if Robert Saleh were to leave for a head coaching job. But I think Sean McVay might look to bring him back as well, because Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, might get a head coaching job as well. Sam Darnold yesterday, a solid game, 20-30, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick, a rating of 111.7. Rashid Shaheed really broke the dam with a kickoff return for a touchdown, his first touchdown as a Seahawk. Hasn't done much in the receiving element of things, but made his impact be felt. Special teams yesterday, the Seahawks as a team run 26 times for 129 yards, 5 yards per carry, really a collective approach there. And then through the air, Jackson Smith-Njigba continues to be arguably the best wide receiver in football this year. Definitely the most productive. 7 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns, 13.1 yards per catch for him. He was targeted 10 times. And then Rashid Shaheed did get involved in the passing game, 4 for 67. Cooper Kupp, 2 for 35. And so the Rams and Seahawks both with big victories in convincing fashion on Sunday. And so here's how things look right now in the NFC and in the NFC West. I mean, everything is so open. Everything is so jumbled, and this is one of the more fascinating seasons that I can remember in recent memory, going into Week 15, where we really don't know who the best team in football is. I mean, on the AFC side, the 2 best teams, the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. And then in the NFC, things are completely wide open. And so right now in the NFC West, the Niners, 1 game back of both Seattle and Los Angeles. The Rams' next 2 games against Detroit and Seattle. Seattle's next 2 games against Indy and the Rams. That Rams-Seahawks game is going to be a huge one. And that is going to be on Thursday night. Might have to do a watch party for that game. If you want us to do a watch party for that game, I want you to type me down in the comment section. Should be able to do that. I know I'm traveling back home the week after Christmas. Let's see when that game is. That'll be Thursday, December 18th. So I'll be around for that one. Might have to do a watch party for that game. That's going to be huge. Go live here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. And so, yeah, Niners 1 game back of the Seahawks and the Rams. Rams next 2 games, Detroit and Seattle. Niners next 2 games against the Colts, or Seahawks next 2 games against the Colts and the Rams. So if Seattle beats the Rams, the Niners will have a chance in Week 18 to secure the best division record and own the tiebreakers over the Rams and the Seahawks. That's what you're rooting for to happen if you are a Niner fan out there. So again, if Seattle beats LA, the Niners have a chance in week 18 with a win over Seattle to win the NFC West. And then they would own the tiebreakers over both the Rams and the Seahawks. Split with LA, but then that would give them a season sweep of Seattle, owning the tiebreaker there. And this division, the number 1 seed could come down to week 18 between the Niners and the Seahawks at Levi's Stadium. Going to be lit. And this speaks to the crazy season that we have seen, right? The Seahawks and the Rams, I was looking at this, 2 of the best DVOA teams ever. Seattle number 8, Rams number 10, and the Niners, with all of this adversity, all of these injuries, all of the craziness that has ensued this season, still have a realistic shot to win this division. It's nuts. Now, for San Francisco against Tennessee, I think this is the second biggest point spread that Brock Purdy has been a favorite in his NFL career. The line has been hovering between 13.5 points and 14.5 points for San Francisco as favorites against the Titans on Sunday. Titans beating the Browns yesterday in Cleveland. Cam Ward was just okay, 14-28 on the day. The big story in that game, Shedeur Sanders looked awesome. He was 23 of 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. It was 31-29 late. Kevin Stefanski showing every week why he's overrated. He decided to go for 2 in the tie when it was 31-29 with like 2.5 minutes to go, I believe. And he takes Shedeur Sanders after he cooked all day off the field. And they go for 2. Direct snap to the running back. They try to go trickery, wildcat formation, and it fails. It flops. So the Titans get their second win of the season. And now they have to face a hot Niners team that has won 3 games in a row. Another huge story from yesterday in week 14 that has to do with the Niners' opponent in 2 games, not against Tennessee, but against the Colts. Daniel Jones had that fracture in his fibula, non-related, but he tore his Achilles in yesterday's loss against Jacksonville. I think the Colts have lost 4 games in a row. And now with Anthony Richardson on IR, orbital bone fracture from getting hit in the face with the football earlier this year, Riley Leonard is the Colts quarterback. If you watch him at Notre Dame last year, good athlete, can run, can't really throw. And so a game that a few weeks ago looked to be a hard one for San Francisco just got a lot easier. So if San Francisco can beat Tennessee, beat Indianapolis, that's 11 wins right there. And their playoff hopes going to be nearly 100%. I predicted this year they would go 11-6. They've got an opportunity to surpass that. Then they'll have Bears, Seahawks to round things out. And with this coaching staff, anything is possible. So you face Tennessee coming off a win. You're 2-score favorites. Now you get a Colts team that you should be able to beat if Riley Leonard is playing quarterback. And then this has to do with the Niners because it's related. But last night, Sunday Night Football, the Houston Texans winning their 4th, 5th game in a row by beating the Kansas City Chiefs. D'Amico Ryans is a stud. I think that Texans defense is the best in the NFL. I think it's better than Denver because they force and generate more turnovers. That win for Houston puts them in the wild card hunt. And they're one of the hottest teams in football, maybe the hottest team in the AFC right now. That Super Bowl defense is Super Bowl caliber. But how about this? It drops Kansas City to 6-7 on the year. They are officially mathematically eliminated from winning the division. It's going to go to Denver. And it looks like Kansas City not going to make the playoffs. 6 of the last 7 years, they've made it to the AFC Championship game. 5 of the last 6, they've been in a Super Bowl. And was at the end of Kansas City's dynastic run last night. Potentially. Patrick Mahomes threw 3 picks against that Houston defense where we saw Mac Jones struggle against that Houston defense, but I think the Niners actually fared better than Kansas City last night. And what this Texans defense has done of late, They have made Josh Allen look human, and they dominated against Patrick Mahomes. That Houston team is for real, and they might be the most dangerous team right now in the AFC. And so I tweeted this out last night, but going into Monday Night Football tonight, the AFC playoff picture, just as everybody had predicted going into the year, right? And I say that tongue-in-cheek sarcastically. Denver, the number 1 seed at 11-2. New England, the number 2 seed at 11-2. The Jaguars, number 3 seed at 9-4. Pittsburgh, the 4 seed at 7-6. Aaron Rodgers leading the Steelers to a big win on the road against Baltimore yesterday. Buffalo, the 5 seed at 9-4. The Chargers going into tonight, the 6 seed at 8-4. And then Houston, now in a wild card spot at 8-5. Teams in the hunt. You have Indy at 8-5, Baltimore 6-7, Chiefs at 6-7. How about what Mike McDaniel's done with Miami? They're one of the hottest teams in football out of nowhere. They are 6-7, still mathematically alive. But other than Indy, and I think they're cooked too, I just don't see how Kansas City, Miami, or Baltimore can make the playoffs as a wild card team. Now, for Baltimore, they could win the AFC North, but Kansas City's not winning the AFC West. Miami's not winning the AFC East. Baltimore could win the AFC North, but Pittsburgh with that huge win yesterday. And so right now, Broncos would get the bye. You would get New England, Houston in the 2-7, Jacksonville Chargers in the 3-6, and then Pittsburgh, Buffalo in the 4-5. I would take Buffalo to win that game. This is why the NFL is king, man. Awesome, fascinating stuff. I will be back in the studio a little bit later. Woke up early this morning, got a good workout in, lower body day, hanging out here for a bit. I got Monday Night Football tonight. Eagles Chargers watch party. We'll do another Niner show a little bit later, so be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as always. Thank you so much for your support. Now we'll catch you soon here on the 49ers Report. Thanks for watching.